Welcome to our GitLab CI workshop here. It's the 20th of May, as promised. We have our CI workshop today, from community to premium. So I guess we will take some seconds until everybody is joining. Hope you're having a good day. You're in the right mood to do some practice in GitLab. It's not only theory part today, so we do not only show some slides, we also have some 4 labs included so that you can directly practice a bit with GitLab Premium features. So people are joining. Let's wait some seconds.
Some people from Prague. I'll be there for the Google Cloud Summit, and we'll be there with CloudFresh. So pay a visit to us.
Good opportunity to meet Breno.
And I'll be there next week as well. Actually, no, tomorrow. Flying to Prague tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. But that's customer visits. Then I came back home and then I go again.
That sounds cool.
That shows I like the city.
I've
Nice
never
people.
been before in Prague.
Nice city. Sometimes if you're in the old part of the city close to Charles Bridge, you are in a movie set. And also they have the Lanterna Magica. That's the best puppets theater in the world.
Hmm, good to know. Great. Maybe as a short icebreaker, we have a polling question for you. If my colleagues could activate that. So if you could have one of these superpowers, which one would you choose? Let's see what you are answering. Read minds. Oh yeah, that would be really
Nicolas
cool.
Cage was able to do that in the movie What Woman Wants.
Yeah. Be able to fly is also very cool. Yeah. So no, I don't know if I would choose it, but the last year when I did not work for GitLab, yeah, so maybe we are all remote companies, so you are not that much in a traffic in the morning. But in my last job, it would be very beneficial to also fly. That would be great. Yeah, nice.
Well, I do fly. I'm glided pilot
Yeah. Oh, you're a pilot. Okay.
and also training with helicopters, the Robson 44. So anything that goes airborne.
So you know how to reach your target very quickly. That's cool.
Some people say
Great.
the sky is the limit. For me, that's a playground. Oh, somebody from
Great.
Blue. Great. I went there. There's a company that makes fantastic heart and health monitors that's called Polar. And I visited them in 2018 or 19, cannot remember. But I remember arriving in Helsinki and flying to Oulu. And there was a time in the golden days of Nokia. There was a flight in the morning between the two cities, only for Nokia employees. Well, not exclusive, but it was probably 98% it was Nokia employees. So one going from Helsinki to Oulu, and the same time one from Oulu to Helsinki, and then in the evening they were
Hmm.
doing the opposite way. Amazing. It was that busy.
Not bad.
Very close to this place you can see
Good.
Aurora Borealis. Super cool. And not
Hey,
far from Rovaniemi, if someone likes to go to the Santa's village.
so these are the results. Then I would say, let's directly start. So welcome again also for those who joined in the last seconds to our GitLab CI workshop from premium to from community to premium. This is a workshop today where we do not only show some slides and talk about that, talk about some functionalities. We also have 4 labs with hands-on exercises at the end of each lab. And to ensure you can fully focus on the workshop and do all exercises, let's talk about the prerequisites and some general information up front. So before we get started, one important thing is you need a gitlab.com account. So please ensure you have a gitlab.com account and you are currently signed in. You will get a workshop environment which will be connected to your gitlab.com account. And this workshop environment will be available for 48 hours. So after the workshop today, you also have the chance to try something out and do the exercises again in your speed. That's no problem. It's available for 48 hours. If you do not have a gitlab.com account yet, please use the URL on the slide, gitlab.com/users/sign_up. So to create quickly an account, because it's, as I said, very important to be able to do the exercises today. Some general information about today's workshop. So this session is being recorded. So we will share the recording and also the slides after the session. You will get them via email. So no worries, you don't need to do some screenshots, whatever. You get the thing, you can fully focus on the presentation and the exercises. We have only planned one break. But we will also do some breaks in between so that you have enough time when we do the exercises to speed up and finish your work before we go to the next exercise. So no worries. Another important thing is you may have questions in between. And we have a Q&A functionality here in Zoom. So you can click on the Q&A button and ask your questions, or also if you have problems during the setup of your lab environment, please use a Q&A to ask questions, and my colleagues in the background can support you as best as they can to get you onboarded. Good. Before we move on, we are sitting here for 3 hours together, so you should also know us. So let's quickly introduce ourselves. So my name is Fabian. I'm working here at GitLab as a customer success manager in the EMEA region, especially for DACH, so for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And today, I'm going to present you with Breno together the topics around about GitLab Community Edition to Premium. And Nicholas and Chloe are also solution architects, and they are supporting today in the Q&A. So whenever you have something, just ping them and they will try to help you. Breno, Nicholas, Chloe, would you also like to introduce yourselves in a short sentence?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Breno Gomes. I'm Lego builder. Some people call me solution architect. So what I do, get some pieces from GitLab, some pieces from your projects, put together, and there you go. We have something done. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe. I'm a solution architect as well. It's kind of hard to match Brenner's presentation just right now. So I would just say I'm happy to meet you and I hope I'll be able to help you the best I can.
Nicholas, I guess you're on mute.
Sorry.
Classic.
Classic one demo effect. Hi everyone, so I'm Nicolas. Same as Breno and Chloe, I'm solution architect in EMEA region for French customer mainly, and happy to meet you today.
Great. We also have some other colleagues in the background, also Seraphine, who is supporting us in the with the demo environment and takes a look that you can also work. So before we start with the workshop, we want to show you something we are as a GitLab team very proud of. So for the second year in a row, GitLab is once again a named leader in Gartner's 24 Gartner Magic Quadrant for DevOps platforms, and positioned highest in both ability to execute and completeness of vision. So yeah, this recognition not only reinforces our vision of software development, but also acknowledge our success in delivering customer value by bringing that vision to life. So we are very proud, but that's not the only thing. We also, in terms of AI, are recognized as a leader in the Gartner Quadrant for AI code assistance, the first ever year of this category. We feel that this is also a very important recognition and believe it highlights our commitment to delivering AI-powered capabilities that accelerate software delivery, enhance security, and drive innovation for our customers. So that's very, very cool to be in that leader quadrant here. Great. But today we are here as new team members working for a startup that has built the popular new racing game called Tanuki Racing. The company is currently using GitLab Community Edition, but it's planning on upgrading to GitLab Premium to take advantage of the CI/CD features. And you have been tasked with learning about the different capabilities. Before we start with that, let's do a little warm up and set up our lab environment with the premium features. So that's the prerequisite before we can dive into the topics and do also the exercises. If you have now any questions coming up, please use the Q&A section so that we can help you to set up your environment. So the first thing is, if you have the gitlab.com account, you need to go to gitlabdemo.com. And there's a button, a blue button called Redeem Invitation Code. You see here this invitation code in red on the slide. And this code you need to enter there. And once you've done it, you also need your gitlab.com user ID. The user ID, you can find it in GitLab when you are logged in. On the top left, there is your avatar. And when you click do one click on your avatar, you see your name and then your user ID, everything after the ad. So in this case, from our colleague Logan Stucker, the user ID is LF Stucker. And you need to take that one. And after you are putting the invitation code for this workshop today into this field on the link on gitlabdemo.com, you also need to paste it here into the gitlab.com username field. So let's wait maybe some seconds until you have really opened the link, taking the invitation code and also your gitlab.com username. And once you have entered the code and your username, please click on the blue button Provision Training Environment. And if you do that and everything is correct, all information, your account is there and also the right code is copied, then you should get this picture here, this message. Because then in the background, we have provided or provisioned an environment for you, and you can directly click on My Group. Then the browser will open and you are directly logged in GitLab in your new group for this exercise today. Good. I hope you not see this one, this 404. If that's the case, please go back again to the GitLab demo page and try it again with this invitation code and your username. Good. I would say we go further. So now the lab environment setup is completed, and I see there are some issues. I don't know, Breno, shall we wait some seconds again?
I think it's a good idea, just in case, because sometimes we have these troubles with caching cookies, and I think some people are having some strange problems. Also, for everyone, some browsers have a silly behavior. When you copy the code, it copies the cartridge return or the new line, and it's a hidden character. Sometimes it causes some strange problems. And also, if accidentally you copies the username with the @ it also causes big trouble. So make sure
Mm.
doesn't have anything. Maybe copy paste into a plain text editor just in case. No hidden characters. And also the username without the @
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, clear caching cookies, start over, and it's going to be very smooth.
Right.
That's a
I
cookie
see some.
Google is trying to get them out of the way doing the fingerprinting, and everyone thinks that's great. We have less problems with the cookies. The only thing, fingerprinting collects far more information, is far more persistent than the cookies, because if I go on a different browser, it doesn't have cookie. If I clear my cache, it doesn't have cookie either. Or a different device, doesn't remember anything about me. If it's fingerprinting, okay, now it knows a lot about my behaviors across devices, browsers, and everything else. So great, now they know even more about us. Hmm. Some people get
Hey.
40, 500s. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I can see that some people have access to the groups and others don't. If you don't have access to a group, can you please put in your user code in the chat and I can create one and give you access for you. Thank you.
That's good. Okay. Let me maybe start with the key differences. So Seraphine is supporting you in the background. As we said, this workshop is a hands-on CI workshop, and what we want to transfer are also the key differences between GitLab Community Edition and also GitLab Premium. So for you as maybe customers or users of GitLab Community Edition, it is good to know what is the value of GitLab Premium and what are really the key differences. So we, at a high level, we categorize these features in 4 main categories. So we have, on the one hand, the faster code review functionalities. So everything which gives you better code control or code review analytics and code quality reports. So there are a lot of functionalities which help you in the topic of faster code reviews. We also have, in context of continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment, we also have their advanced capabilities like operation and environment dashboards, or also CI/CD for Kubernetes deployments, which is a very cool function. In terms of enterprise agile delivery, we have also functionalities like push rules, approval rules, merge request dependencies. So a lot of things which makes it better to control and also to work together with your teams. And last but not least, GitLab Duo AI features. Maybe you heard that or saw that last week, our big announcement last week that we now also have GitLab Duo capabilities directly in Premium and Ultimate, or essential Duo features directly in the IDE, like code suggestions, Duo chat, and so on. So looking ahead, upgrading also to our highest Ultimate tier unlocks even more advanced capabilities, such as deeper security integrations, comprehensive compliance management, and so on. So GitLab Ultimate then, in the comparison to Premium, is really our comprehensive DevSecOps platform. But that is not the topic of today. Today is our topic, GitLab Premium. And I just want to again show you this, what I already mentioned. So this is now our completely new offering. So with GitLab Premium with Duo, you have native AI capabilities included. So, and the main thing here is that you have code suggestions and chat directly in the IDE integrator. So for those of you who use VS Code as an example, you can install a plugin connected with GitLab, and then you have the native AI Duo features directly in your IDE, and so support you in code refactorization, code explanation, generation, or also test generation. Important, this is exclusively supported in the IDE, not in the UI for Premium with Duo users. In terms of better code controls, what comes into your mind when you think of better code controls? Maybe you think of better collaboration or code being reviewed by experts in that domain, also knowing who they are, or protecting the default branch by having rules put in place to prevent untested or unauthorized merges. Finally, what also security compliance measures can be implemented to reduce the risk of exposure. And GitLab Premium has these features already baked in. So we have the possibility to set code owners, also multiple approvers, to set push rules, and also have some security on compliance features integrated, like also our audit events, which are for regulated customers, very important to track. And all these things are the enhanced capabilities of GitLab Premium in comparison to GitLab Community Edition. I've highlighted some of the advanced CI/CD and agile delivery features also on this slide here, including using merge trains to reduce pipeline queue times, connecting to external CI/CD projects, which is also important for some customers, or also leveraging GitLab CI/CD pipelines for building and deployment. And some of these functionalities that we now showed on these slides, we will also, of course, show you in the exercise lab, but not, of course, everything, because that would be too much and we would need too long to show you that. But the most important things we will cover here and do this in the exercises right after the lab. Okay. Now, our first lab: plan, organize, track, and define work. So let's go over the planning features, and I will show you how you can organize, track, and define your work in GitLab. So this is our first lab. I will first show you the things, and then at the end of this theory part, we will also do some practice work in GitLab. And hopefully everybody is then also enabled to do this with his work environment here at GitLab. This is our agenda. So we completed the lab setup, and now we dive into enterprise agile planning features. And your first task is to create a board, milestones, and some scoped labels on GitLab with some initial issues so that the development team can start to use GitLab as a single platform for all the development needs. So that is the topic of this lab. And to get started with GitLab and make use of the planning features, you first need to create groups and projects in GitLab. You see here this graph and also this hierarchy. The projects on the lowest level are used to collaborate, plan, write code, and also deliver apps. They also contain the Git repository in GitLab. Multiple projects can be organized in groups or subgroups. And groups provide more layer of strategic planning, governance, and management. On top of that, we have organizations. So there are many examples how customers organize their GitLab. Most common is to map the structure in GitLab to the organization and use, as an example, groups for business units, subgroups for departments or teams, and organize their projects in there. To track your work in GitLab, you can make use of roadmaps, iterations, and milestones. Roadmaps are ideal for visualizing epics within a group on a timeline view, like you know that from Gantt charts as an example. They are only available in groups and not in projects. That's a thing, but the reason is also we said groups are more on a strategic level, and this is also more fitting to roadmaps. Iterations help you to track issues over a specific small period of time. They can be used to plan a sprint of 2 or 3 weeks for agile teams. And milestones, with milestones, you can also track and group issues and merge requests against a period of time at group, subgroup, and on project level. This is sometimes used also for planning releases. So if you have a software release 1.0, you can create a milestone there in GitLab and track all your objects, your issues, your MRs, and so on to the specific release or to the milestone. Okay. To summarize that a little bit, this picture shows on the left our organization in GitLab with the groups, the subgroups, and also projects. On group level, so the more strategic view, you can organize your epics, which can be, some companies use it as product capabilities, some as product features. Depends a little bit on what's better fit to, or what better fits to your organization or to your product which you're managing with GitLab. And to track these epics, you can use the roadmap or milestones and iterations. On the project level, so on the lowest level, you can create issues related to epics, so you can link them to the epics, and you can also make use of milestones. We talked about how to organize your work, and the location where the work is done at the end is the project, and this is also the location of the Git repository. So the Git repository is in GitLab the project, and the project contains your source code, of course, and which you can manage with Git. And it also contains merge requests, which help you to visualize and collaborate on proposed code changes on a Git branch. You can create a CI/CD pipeline in your GitLab project to describe how your code build, test, and deployment should look like. And it also gives you the capability to fully automate this process. In merge requests, you can also perform code reviews, which are at the end discussion threads in the merge request. And you can also set approvals for acceptance of your code changes. To work in GitLab, you of course need a GitLab user. We already mentioned that at the beginning. And your user needs to be assigned to a role. There's also a specific role for this planning feature called Planner. And this overview shows you which capabilities a user with the Planner role has in context of all our GitLab tiers. So starting from the free, from the community edition, to premium, and also to ultimate. So there you can see what kind of functionalities are coming with all the paid tiers like premium and ultimate, or only taking a look to the planning feature. Let's talk about a very important feature if you are using the planning in GitLab. So, and these are labels. You can create or you can use labels to organize your work in GitLab. You can create them on a project or also on a group level and assign them to issues, epics, also to merge requests. They help you to categorize your epics and issues or MRs, and that helps you also to search for a specific item or to filter items or also to set up boards in GitLab based on labels. There are also special labels called scoped labels. And with that, you can create mutually exclusive labels in form of key value pairs. So they are on the slide on the right. You see this small screenshot there. You can see an example for a scope label where you have the key workflow and the value planning and review. So this is used then here in this example, it is used to support the workflow of issues. I will show you that also in the practical hands-on session. For those who like shards or who like viewing shards, we also have some shards integrated in GitLab. And for people or for teams that are working in sprints, these two charts are very important. It's about burn down and burn up shards. So the burn down chart shows the remaining issues or the burn down over the course of a project milestone. And the right one, the burn up chart, shows the total number of issues against the completed issues. So this is a good thing during a sprint to take a look on and to see if you need to hurry up or not to reach your sprint goal. Okay. That's the theory for the planning part. So now we can move on and go to the GitLab, to your workshop environment, to the Tanuki Racing project, which should be in your environment that we deployed. And what I'm going to do is I will also open these issues and then do it step by step. Also on my screen, share it with you so that you can see what I'm doing and you can do the same in the background. And after each exercise, we will give you some time to finish your work, or as I said at the beginning, you can also do this for 48 hours. This workspace environment is there for 48 hours. So you also have the chance to do that tomorrow again if you like to. Okay. I hope you can see that. So what I would recommend, which is very, very helpful, is to use maybe two browser windows, and split your screen so that you can maybe on the right side open the instruction manual. On the left side, you can perform then the actions of the instructions. Okay. So I have here my F. Bremek prod group. And within that, I have my Tanuki Racing CE2 Premium workshop, so our project for today. Let's go into it. And you see here are a lot of files included, a good prepared project. What we now want to do is to open the exercises. And we have these exercises as an issue. So what you can do to access the issue is to go to the plan menu and then to issues. And here you can see our 4 exercises. Let's start with the first one. I click on it and then also maximize it. It's a little bit easier. To read the whole instructions, you need to click on read more because there's a lot of text. And the first thing, step 0, is we assign this issue to ourselves. This is very easy to do. Here on the right, you have some additional fields in each issue, and you can just click on assign yourself. So you do not have to enter your name or search for your name. And what we are now going to do is we are going to create scope labels. So what I said before, we have labels and we have these scope labels. And they are a bit special. So let's directly do it. First of all, we go into our project. I do that on the left side. Then we go to manage, then to labels. Here you can see the labels that are already existing and also where they are created, because labels can be set or configured on a project and on a group level, which is good if you want to, as an example, want to use one label in multiple projects, then you can directly create them in a group. So you don't have to create them in each and every project. That's, that's very good and more efficient. We click here on new label, and our first exercise is to create a label called P1. You can put a description, you don't need it. Just choose a nice color and then click on create label. Good. Then we repeat the step and create a second label called P2. P2. And we take titanium yellow as a nice color. Great. So now we have label P1 and P2. Now we need to create scoped labels to better organize our workflow. So we click on new label. And now I copy the text. And you see using the colon says that you configure this label as a scoped label. Yeah, so where the left part is the key and the right part is the value. I just choose one color. Now we do the same thing for all the labels that are listed here in the step 1. So I just copy that. Workflow review. Then one for workflow development. And for testing. One for documentation. and one called status new. Good. So I guess we have created everyone, P1, P2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That fits and status new. So we have all scope labels created. Just wait a second. And then let's move on to step 2. Okay, let's move on to step 2, create new board. So we can not only create labels, we can also use it as a to plan our work with boards. So we go again to the plan section, then to issue boards. And here you can directly see the standard board, which is configured here. We see our 4 issues for the exercises. And what we are now going to do is we create a new one. And you can do this here in this menu. So on the drop down, we click on create new board. And we should name it team scope board. Ensure show the open list and show the closed list are selected. We have that selected. Okay. And then we can click on create board. And now we have a new board. And with this drop-down menu, you can quickly, you can create a bunch of boards, configure them in a different way, and then switch over this menu between the boards. Okay. Now we can create new lists. So you see this gray boxes here. These are in GitLab called list. And now we should create some new list and configure them. So on the first, we create a new list and select the scope label. That is correct. And now select the label workflow planning. So now when you open this, you get all the available labels. So you can scroll down. In our case, there are not so many labels. If you have a group with a bunch of labels and you know which label you want to select, you can also directly enter the name like I do it here with workflow and then click on the right label. Then it is a little bit faster. Okay. So now we created a new list and you see also the selected label here on the top. Let's do it again for workflow development. Then for review. Add to board. And for workflow testing. Good. So we created list. You can also grab them and move them from the left to the right. So you can very easy and quickly move the list so that you can configure the board in the way that you want it. Good. That is step 2 of our first exercise. Then let's move on to step 3. Set work in progress limits by weight. So within this issue board, then we go and go over the workflow development. Then you can click on edit list settings to configure this list. And you see here the list settings on the right of the screen, the window. And what we now are going to do is to edit the work in progress limit. So we click on edit. And what we are going to do is set the maximum weight to 6. So we can say work in progress limit by items or by weight of the issues. We select weight in our example and enter 6. And not forget to apply. And then you can see that this changed the total weight. There's a /6 because that's a configured limit that we have set. So repeat this process for the workflow review and set the maximum weight to 4. So let's do it also for this list. We click on the settings on the gear button, then on edit, select weight and enter a 4. Apply. So this change was also successful. So in general, for maybe some of you already know that or also use that tooling, that is of course very helpful if you are working in a team. You have a lot of things to do, yeah, and to also set there a bar or a maximum of task which you should assign in that state. That is a very helpful feature, so that GitLab shows you, I guess you have enough in the planning or in the review phase. So that is a very good functionality. Good. Let's move on to step 4. In step 4, we are asked to create a project milestone. To do that, we go to the plan and to milestone. So right after issue boards. And here's it also stated, use milestones to track issues, merge requests over a fixed period of time. There's no milestone created, so we have to click on new milestone. And we use a title in the exercise, Tanuki Racing Migration Milestone. We set the start date to today. Today is the 20th. The due date as 1 week from today. Then we have the 27th. And I click on create milestone. So there's our first milestone. And here in this overview of the milestone, you can see the issues, MRs, and so on, the participants, labels, everything that you have assigned to this milestone. Good. So step 4 is finished. Let's wait some seconds and then I pursue with step 5. Okay. Step 5, create issues. So to create an issue, we go to the plan and issue menu, where we also see our exercises. Then we click on the button on the top right, new issue. And this issue should be called create project wiki. So in the task, in the exercise here, we should ensure that we have plain text editing mode in. So you can switch here to rich text editing or plain text editing. But we are on the plain text. And now what we are going to do is when we create this issue, let's do the work, or let's GitLab Duo make the work. So we can click here on GitLab Duo, and GitLab Duo should generate an issue description, because I do not want to write that now. So now GitLab Duo needs a prompt. So and I can provide a prompt because we just copy it from the exercise. The prompt is provide a description around creating a descriptive project wiki. Let's see what GitLab Duo is doing. Okay, this is for this content, this is really cool. It has a description, a title, key requirements, acceptance criteria, proposed labels that we could set, also the priority, and with the hint, it is generated using AI. Yeah, but I guess it was a good idea to do this, because in that time, I would not be able to perform such a nice issue description. Okay, it's good enough. Let's say create issue. And what we can do, or it is step 14, but you can also do that afterwards. Yeah, we want to configure or do some settings in the issue. Yeah, as an example, you can, or we should assign it to ourselves again. So assign to me. Then I want to select the milestone that we created before. So I go to edit, and since we only have one milestone configured in this project, we only see the Tanuki Racing migration milestone. Let's select that. Then we should also assign the label P2. We can do this here right after the assignees. Click on edit. I enter P, and then we see P2. And click on apply. Then we have to give the issue a weight. So the weight is here directly after the labels, and we give it a weight 2. Apply. We should select a due date within the next week. So let's go to edit dates, due date, and let us choose the 28th as an example. Apply. So Tanuki Racing milestone is assigned. Everything, leave it as it is. That looks good. So then we have the first issue created. And in the exercise, there's also the task to create a second issue. So I go back. Here we see our project wiki issue. I click on new issue again. And now I copy the text also from the exercise into the field. So use dynamic issue tracking. And because GitLab Duo did such a great job, let's do it again. We provide him a prompt. Provide a short description around using dynamic issue tracking for better workflows, and submit. That looks also very good. Expected outcome, benefits, additional notes. Yeah, really wonderful. So let me assign also this issue to myself. Then the label, workflow review, apply. Then we give a weight. The weight should be 1 in this example. We also select a due date. So due 29th as an example, apply. And we also want to assign this issue to our milestone. So I click here on milestone on edit, select our Tanuki Racing migration milestone. And that's it. Let's create the issue. There it is. Good. Just wait some seconds. And then we move on with step 6. Okay. Step 6, burn down and burn up shards. So I directly showed that before on the slides. To go into it, you can navigate to milestone. Click on the Tanuki Racing milestone. And then you can directly see here the burn down chart and also the burn up chart. So it's quickly to access. And you also see here your issues. We also see our ongoing issues and so on. So in this case, to show the changes also in the chart, let's do some adjustments. So we are going to create a third issue with a weight of 3 and assign it also to the markstone and then mark it as closed. And then you should see also the change in the graph. So to do that, whoops. Let's go to issue. I create a new one. I connect it to the milestone. Create the issue. And then let's move back to the milestones. So we can see here the third issue. Here are our 2 ongoing issues. And then I open this one again and say it is now closed. So you see the status is changing from open to closed. And then I go back and you directly see here in the burn up chart, there are 3 issues in sum, in total, and 1 is completed. Okay. So this is the practical part to the milestone and the burn down and burn up chart. Now, since the labeling is a very important piece in the planning feature, let's move on to the work with labels, with scoped labels. This is step 7. So to go into that, let's go to plan and issues. And then we click on Create Project Wiki. And now we are going to add scope labels to this issue. We do this by click on Edit and search for the label. In this case, we are asked to use the planning label and click on Apply. So now we have, next to the P2, we also have workflow planning, the scope label assigned. Then let's go back to the issue board and select the board that we created, the team scope board. So I go to issue boards, go to the drop-down menu, switch the board. And now you can also see here the Create Project Wiki issue is now in this column. Since this column or this list, it is a list. This list is focused, or the scope of the list is based on the scoped label. Now we are clicking again here on this label, on this issue, and change the label to development. And what you can see here is now, since scope labels are mutually exclusive labels and are a key value pair, you cannot use two of the same scope labels here, or with the same key in parallel. Yeah. So as soon as you take another scope label with the same key, it will replace it. Yeah. And you can also see it here. Yeah. It moves back from the planning list, and now it is as in part of the workflow development list. Good. So that is, you can quickly do this. So you can do this like I did it. Click on the issue and also then remove it or search for the other thing. But what you can also do is to just move it from one list to the other list. And in the background, GitLab is automatically removing and assigning this new scope label to the issue. Okay. Now we are clicking again on the issue, and I assign another label to it, the status new, and click on Apply. And what you can see here is nothing changes because status new has another scope, or it has another key. It's not the key workflow, it's the key status. And that's the reason why nothing happens here with this issue. It stays in the development list, and only the new scope label is assigned to the issue and is also visible here in this small card. Yeah. So that is the reason also during the presentation why I said many teams use this to optimize their workflow. Yeah, so to really say this issue is currently in the planning, now it's developed, now it's blocked due to whatever reasons. And so to really make it easy to establish a good flow of the issues throughout the process. Okay. So let's move on with the part go back. So just to drag everything and put it to close. So you can very easy close your issues. And now they are all closed. And only our exercises are still open because they are open. We need to do some things today. Okay. Good. After we have closed now everything, let's move back to the milestone and let's see how it looks like now. So I go to the Tanuki Racing migration milestone. And you can see nothing is remaining. Everything is closed. And also the red bar, the red point here is at 3. So 3 issues are completed and 3 issues in total. So there you can see the change directly in GitLab in the milestone. Good. Just give you some seconds to also do the last work, and then we are going to the next lab. Just wait a second. I hope everybody is still feeling good. Maybe my colleagues in the background could do another poll in terms of, yeah.
Hi, Fabian. Can I come in real quick? With the users that don't have access to the issues, you should, if you check your email, you get a new subgroup that if you click into the link, it will take you into a new group on GitLab with issues in there. I think we had like 11 people that had subgroups with note issues. So ping me on the chat if you don't have access to that.
That is good. Thank you, Seraphine, for supporting. Since this was now the first exercise, maybe my colleagues could use a poll and to check in if how the pace, yeah, or maybe we can use the other one just to see how the speed is of the exercises. Is it too fast, or is it too slow, or is it good? Just to get some feedback. Okay, but I now see also the DevOps journey poll you are now answering, which is also very interesting always to see where the people are in the DevOps journey. Okay, so many people are also using continuous delivery. Great. Some CI. That's interesting. Also discovery phase, just starting, 20%. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is something we see day to day with talking to many customers. Some of them are already have a good tooling, have some good practices. The other ones are directly starting. So that's very, very interesting to see always. I hope you get a lot of good input definitely here in this workshop today, especially for those who are just starting. Great. So these are the results. So for those of you who are also interested to see how the others answered. Top 1 is continuous delivery. Very cool. Okay. So just looking to your feedback before I move on. So speed is for some people okay. For some not okay. Yeah, I will do my best to make everyone happy. That is my objective. Good. Then I would say let's move on. So switching back to our presentation. Hope you can see that all. So what did we do? We have set up our project in GitLab with labels, with issues, with boards. And I would say now let's talk about faster code reviews. So in this lab of our Tanuki racing game, let's look at functionalities like code owners, approval rules, and merge results pipelines. So just to show you where we are. So lab setup completed, enterprise agile planning completed. Now we are in the faster code reviews, and there are some exercises following until the end of the workshop. And lab 2 is about the following. So after demonstrating your project planning capabilities to the team, they were impressed and asked you if you could enhance it by implementing code control, further speeding up job execution, adding a mechanism to ensure the default branch always remains stable and green. You decide you are going to show off your skills and show how you can add code owners, approval rules, push rules, and merge results pipelines to your project. Before doing that, let's have a brief overview about these capabilities. So with code owners lets you assign team members responsible for the project. So when you have some subject matter experts who are an expert in the project, in a specific programming language, whatever, you can define these as code owners. You can also set multiple team members as code owners for specific files in the project. You can also see it here on the screenshot that for documentation for the README or whatever file, you can set specific persons. It's also worth noting that code owners are auto-assigned as merge request approvers. So whenever somebody is creating a merge request and is changing a file that is defined in the code owner configuration, the one who is the code owner will be automatically assigned as an approver. Let us talk about merge result pipeline. So this special kind of pipeline runs on the result of source and target branches merged together. So that helps to check if your last changes would break on the default branch, although everything was green in your branch. This is super useful if you are working for a longer time on your branch, since you need to develop a new feature or whatever. And over the time, the target branch changes. And you can always rerun your pipeline to check if your code would still work in the target branch. We will see this also shortly in the hands-on session. Another premium capability in regards to code merge are merge trains. Merge trains introduce a way to order the flow of changes into the default branch. In fast-paced environments, frequent changes to the default branch can lead to issues where, while one merge is already being validated, another is merged into the main branch. So this subsequent merge can render the previous validation invalid. And merge trains create a queue of merge requests so that multiple developers are able to collaborate whilst keeping the default branch green. Each queued merge request takes a completed state of the previous merge, adds its own changes, and then runs a pipeline in its respective branch before it merging to ensure they all are working together. So for teams who are really developing a lot of features, this is very helpful to create an order and to ensure that nothing breaks at the end. To enable merge trains, we need all three features to be enabled and working. So merge request pipelines, merge result pipelines, and merge trains. Since this, maybe let's summarize this merge-related information, since this can be very hard to fully understand that at the beginning and also the differences. So at a high level, merge trains. Merge requests are put into a queue and run on the changes on the previous merge request ahead of the queue combined with the target branch. With merge request pipeline runs on the content of the source branch only, ignoring the content of the target branch. So it's only in your development branch. The merge result pipeline runs on the result of the source and target branch merged together. So that really helps you to check if the code would break at the end if you merge your code. So in the background, GitLab is doing a commit which is not visible to really merge your source branch to with a target branch, and based on that is showing you the result. Let us talk about some rules. So with GitLab Premium, you also have the chance to set approval rules. And with approval rules, you can define the right people review merge request. You can also define how many approvals are necessary before code will be merged. This can also be used in conjunction with code owners to ensure that the changes are reviewed both by the group maintaining the feature, so the code owners, and any other groups responsible for specific areas of oversight. So you have a bunch of possibilities to ensure that developers do not have to assign also the MR to people manually. You can include other teams into approval rules like security, compliance, or architects, whoever. So to integrate them into the process and also to strengthen collaboration at the end. Then next to approval rules, there are also push rules. And with push rules, you can configure a lot of rules that control who can push to your repository and what can be pushed. As an example, you can configure required expressions in comment messages, which is great if you aligned with your team to use conventional commits, which many teams do. So you can also define how branch names should look like. So that helps to also strengthen collaboration and also standardize the way of your collaboration within the team. And this can be done with push rules. You also have the chance here to prevent pushing secret files so that GitLab is checking what kind of content there is and to avoid that. Let's talk about also some analytic capabilities of GitLab Premium. With contributor analytics, you get an overview of the contribution events from your group's members. So you can get insights into the team activity and also the individual performance. As an example, it can help to ensure collaborative development practices by evaluating the balance between pushes and code reviews. So not that maybe one colleague is only doing some code reviews, but he also wants to push some code. Yeah, so you can try to find a balance in the team if you like to do that. And this contribution analytics gives you some very good insights to that. On the other hand, we also have productivity analytics, and productivity analytics displays information about the merge request for groups. Very important if you want to show or if you want to access these productivity analytics. This is not visible on the project level, so therefore you have to go to your group. Also, when you want to do that tomorrow, whenever on your workspace, on your workshop environment, you can go to your group and then you can also access the productivity analysis. And you can use it. You can use it at the end to view your development velocity, or also identify potential causes of merge requests that take a long time to merge, and that gives you good insights into that. Okay, so that was the theory content in terms of faster code reviews, and the next step would be to go again into our exercises. I prepare that, wait some seconds so that everybody is able to start, and then we continue. So I go again to issue. And here we have faster code reviews. I expand it. Okay. So this is stated here, this challenge builds on using a simple pipeline to demonstrate how to implement code controls to expedite code reviews and ensure the delivery of high quality code. Okay, let's wait some seconds until everybody has opened the issue, and then we can directly start to do that. Good. So our first step, creating a simple pipeline. So therefore, we go into build and pipeline editor. For those who are not that familiar with GitLab, yes, we can also go into the repository, and there's the GitLab CI YAML file, which is at the end the same content here. But the pipeline editor in the build menu is a good way to make some pipeline changes, because you directly have a syntax check in here, and I directly see the impact when I change something in the pipeline and can check if the pipeline syntax is correct. So that's a nice feature of the pipeline editor. Okay. We see now our pipeline definition here, and now we are asked to replace the content of this pipeline with the pipeline configuration in our issue. So let's do it. You can directly click on this button here to copy the whole content to the clipboard. Then I remove everything, and syntax is correct. That's good. So we should take a moment to also review the code for you. So let's take a look to it. So we have here an image definition. We have additional services, variables, and at the end, 2 stages, a build stage and a test stage. And in that stages, we have some jobs. Here's a build job in the build stage. We have super fast test in the test stage, another test job, and that's it. So that is our pipeline. Good. I will add this message here at initial pipeline configuration as a comment message. What I did not mention is we also have a cache here included. So this is also a possibility in GitLab CI. You can configure caching. So to cache some files and make the pipeline in general faster. For example, when you have dependencies or something else that you need more often, or also things that other jobs need, then you can cache and then make the whole pipeline quicker and speed it up. Okay. So then let us commit the change. Have been successfully committed. And when I now click on build and pipeline, or directly here, I can also see that the pipeline is running. There's my commit message. And you can see, as described, we have a build stage with 1 build job, and we have the test stage with 2 test jobs. Good. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is about having multiple approvers in the code review. So let's set up a code review workflow that requires multiple approvers before changes can be merged. We do this by navigating to our settings. That's at the bottom of the menu bar. Then we click on merge request. And here you see a lot of options. Also, short site info, which is also valid for each settings. You can also search for specific settings, especially when the page is that long before you scroll down all the time. You can also, when you know what you are searching for, you can directly type it in, like here, and that makes it much more easier also to find your settings that you are searching for. In our case, we scroll down to the merge approval section. This is here. And now in point 3, we have the task to check prevent approval by author and prevent approvals by users who add commits is enabled. So prevent approvals by author is enabled. The second thing, prevent approvals by users who add commits, is not enabled yet. So we click on activate. And the next step, set minimum required approvals to 2. We can do this here. Here you see minimum required approvals. and approval is required, then we can just say 2. So then scroll down and check. Remove approvals by code owners if their files change to ensure changes are re-reviewed if code is modified. We also select this one. Then we click on Save Changes. They have been updated. And then the next step, now after we save this change, or these approval rules here, we now go to the web IDE. To do that, you can click on Code, then on Repository. So now we open the repository, see all the files in here. And now we can click on Code and open with web IDE. So in this window, you can also copy the link to clone the repository to your local IDE and so on. But now for our workshop here, it's quite easy to use our web IDE. So we do this, and then VS Code, our web IDE, will be directly opened, and also our project is directly opened. Great. So now in point 8, we are asked to do a small change to the GitLab CI YAML file. So we go to the GitLab CI YAML file. And we should add an AfterScript keyword. Here, an echo command to our test job. So our test job is here. We already have the AfterScript keyword used, and we just only copy this echo command to the AfterScript. Okay. Then we go to the source control button here in VS Code. Add a comment message. Just another echo. And then use the dropdown to select create new branch and commit. So when I click here, I directly commit and push the code to the main branch. In this case, we click on the arrow and say create new branch and commit. I leave it here empty. So this would be my branch name, fbremic main patch. And success, your changes have been committed. So follow the prompts to create a merge request and assign it to yourself. So here I can directly say, now I want to create an MR. So I click on it. So for those maybe more beginners, we now made a code change and we committed the change. And now we selected to not merge this change, so this echo command, to our main code base, to our main branch. Now we created a new branch, and with this merge request, we are saying that we want to merge our new code base to the main code base, to the main branch. Great. So we have a title, just another echo command. Also, what I would like to show you, as I said, for regular premium users, this is not available, but in this environment, we have it here. We can also do summarize the code changes. I like that functionality a lot because, of course, it's an easy change, yeah, but it is very good described and makes collaboration much more easier here. So we have everything. I click on create merge request. And you can see the pipeline is already running, but we now get this message, requires 2 approvals from eligible users. And it's not defined, it's any eligible users. So that is the rule that we, or the settings that we set before, that we said we need minimum 2 approvals to allow merging the code. Great. Let's wait some seconds and then we move on with our step 3. In step 3, we are now going to set approval rules. And to do that, we need again go to the settings, merge request. Then we need to scroll down. So that was in the same area where we also did the other settings, the approval settings. And now we can click here in the merge request approvals, here in this section approval rules, we can click on add approval rule. And this is what we are going to do. We click on that. Then we give that a name, like it is mentioned, DevOps checks. We set the rule, we select all branches. So it's valid for all branches of this project. And we set the required number of approvals to 1. And we add a user, Logan Stucker, also one of our demo architects. We set him here to the user who needs to approve. Okay, then we can click on Save Changes. That works. DevOps checks, approvers is here Logan for all branches. Then in the step 3, we are asked to add another one. So we again click on Add Approval Rule and call it Security Checks. The same here, all branches. And let me use Seraphine, also our demo architect, as another approver. Save changes. So these are static approval rules, also mentioned here in the task, that let you define specific reviewers who must approve changes before they can be merged, ensuring that the right experts review relevant code changes. So here in our first setting, it did not matter who was approving, not the one who created the merge request. So in my case, it was myself. We needed 2 additional approvals, and with these rules in place, it is necessary that Logan and also Seraphine are approving the MR before it can be merged. Okay. So that was step 3. Let me wait some seconds till everybody has configured this. Okay. Then I will pursue with step 4. We talked about code owners in the theory part. So code owners are people that are subject matter experts for specific projects or parts of projects, and you can configure them and define them to also include them into this whole approval workflow. So, and code owners is a file that defines it, which individuals or teams are responsible for that. And we need to do that in the repository. To do that, we do the following. We go back to the project. So you can click here on the name or also on code and repository. That's the same at the end. Then we go back to the web IDE. So you click on code and open with web IDE. Open it freshly again. Now we need to create a new file. And to do that, you can click in the web IDE on this button here, new file. And the file needs to be named code owners. Great. We have created a file here. We also see directly in the source control a change happened. There's a new file. And now we are asked in step in point 3 to add the code below and make sure you replace the GitLab ID with your ID. So let's do it. I just copy everything to the clipboard, paste it in here. So, and here it states, this is a comment, infrastructure team owns the configuration files. For infrastructure, the README MD is at your GitLab ID. So in this case, you can remove this and replace it by your own GitLab ID that you also needed to enter at the beginning in the lab setup. Yeah. So if you do not remember, you can click here on your avatar and then you directly see your username, your user ID from GitLab. Okay. So now let's commit this change. So we click in step 4 here on the source control button. We leave a commit message at code owners. And then we commit and push to main. So now we get a pop-up in the middle of the screen because you are committing your changes to the D4 branch. Do you want to continue? Of course, it's not best practice always to do that. That's the reason why this message is coming. But in this case, we want to, so we click on continue. And your changes have been committed. So let's go to the project. You can also directly click here in this sort pop-up message on project. Then we once again go into our project. So here you can see our code owners file with the definition who is responsible for which files. Now we need to configure that. And to enforce the code owner rules, we need to navigate in point 5 to settings, repository. And here in the repository settings, you need to click on protected branches. And then in this table, you see code owner approval. It is currently deactivated. We click here to activate the code owner approval. And now we can test if that works and if the code owner is really activated. Let's do it by making a change to an HTML file in part 6 and to the README file. To do that, let's go back to the web IDE. So again, I go to the project. I click on code, open with web IDE. So here I'm back in the project. And then we create a new file. The file should be called test.html, so an HTML file. The file is directly opened and we can copy the code from the exercise into the test.html file. So that is done. Then in the next step, we want to modify the README MD file. So we click on our README MD, which is here. Ooh, that's a lot. And we will add this here to the top. So code owner, I am making a change to the README file. Then after creating the test HTML file, after changing the README markdown file, let's also do a small change now in the GitLab CI YAML file. We go here to the CI YAML file. And add another echo comment to our test job. There it is, the test job, the after script, just an echo comment. Yeah. So no rocket science what we are doing here. It should just show you what kind of impact these settings that we are setting, what they have. And so we are only doing some small changes here in the project to see how that works. Okay. Good. So let's move to the source control and see what we did. We changed 3 files, or we changed 2 and created 1 new. So we write a new comment message, code owners, test code owner rules. And then also here, please pay attention. We say commit and push not to main. Yeah, we click on the menu and say we want to have a new branch. Just leave the name of the branch as it is. So you need to just click on the enter button on your keyboard. And then we also want to create a merge request. So we click here on create MR. Now we are directly moved to the new merge request window. And I say create merge request. And what you now can see, what we did from our first configuration in the last step. We have our approval rules. So for 2 eligible users, we have the DevOps checks. So the approval rule that we created where we said Logan needs to approve. We have the security check approval rule where Seraphy needs to approve. And now, due to the fact that we defined this code owners file in our repository and also activated this in the settings of the repository and now changed something, we also directly see the impact because code owner for the GitLab CI YAML file is in this case Logan. So he needs to approve since we wanted to change something. And you remember when we go back to the code owners, you see that the README MD file, that there's my GitLab username. So I am the code owner of the README. So there's no approval necessary. It's just optional. Yeah, but for the rest of the files, GitLab CI YAML file, it is necessary to get an approval. So you can also do some path exclusions and so on. So there are a bunch of possibilities how you can really organize your project and what kind of measures you can implement to really ensure quality in the process, and a good flow within your team to let not things break in production at the end. Okay. Just wait a second for that. And when you're finished with this one, we will just reset all the settings so that we can pursue with our last steps and then this faster code reviews exercise is finished. Good. Let us pursue with the removal. So just that you can continue with the workshop and do not get some error messages. We are just doing a small cleanup. So we go to settings again, then to merge request. And in this case, we are removing, we set the approval roots to 0. I also delete the checks here. And we also uncheck the prevent approval by author and approvals by users who add commits. Then I save the changes. And let's also go to the repository settings again to deactivate the code owner approval. Now it's deactivated. Okay. Step 5, setting up push rules. So to configure push rules, let's go to settings repository. We are currently here, and we also see here this menu push rules. So note what we are going to do now is to enable prevent pushing secret files. So any files are rejected that likely contain secrets. That's such an important functionality. We see it so many times that secrets are containing or that secrets are part of files and repositories. That's not good. So very, very important setting here. And what we also want to do is to set the require expression in comment messages. So you can copy that here from our exercise. It's this one here. And into the require expression in comment messages field. So this is to enforce conventional commits. We also set the maximum file size to 1 megabyte. And we enable in part 6 reject unsigned commits. And now we save push rules. So then let's go back to the IDE. We click on repo, then on code, web IDE. And then we create a new file called test.txt. Just put in something. Hello, people. So, and what we are now going to do is to make a commit message here, edit new file. And let's push it to main. And what you can directly see here, our push rule is active. So GitLab commit message does not follow the pattern, feed, fix, doc style, and so on. Yeah, so that is great. If you have that in the team, you aligned with your team to use conventional commits, that's a very good feature to directly do that. So to ensure that everybody is committing in the same way, and which makes it much more easier. Okay, so let's try it again, and I add feature up front. And now the changes have been committed. That is good. Okay. Also here, let's directly remove this configuration. So again, we go to settings, repository, push rules, and remove it from here so that we do not get disturbed here during the workshop. Okay. You can also do the uncheck the other boxes just to be sure everything works. And as said, you can later on play with these settings and gather your own experience. Let's do the last thing. And then afterwards, we also make a little break so that you can free up your mind, grab a coffee, whatever. Step 6, merge result pipelines. Merge result pipelines run CI jobs with merge code from both your changes and all upstream changes before merging into the default branch. that helps to detect issues that may only appear when your changes are combined with the latest code. So that is what I told you in the overview. Let's do that on the practical part. So to enable this, we need to go to settings and merge request again. Then here to merge options directly and enable merge result pipelines. Then we click on save. Okay. But let me check, is it really enable merge result pipelines? Ah, I guess I used, I clicked on the wrong save button. Now it's activated, yeah. Okay, then we can go to the pipeline editor again in step 2. So build pipeline editor. And now we have to add the workflow keyword right under stages. So we can copy that here directly under stages. Okay. In step 3, to speed up your pipeline builds, let's remove the super fast test job from our GitLab CI YAML file so that we only have 2 jobs. So we can do that. You can remove them, or what you can also do, and I will do the same, we can also copy the whole content and remove it here. And we see the pipeline syntax is invalid. Okay. There is somewhere a mistake. Doop, 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 doop. Maybe let's reset it before we lose too much time. And I just copy again, whoops, yeah, the workflow. And remove super fast test, which is this one. So maybe you also take a look, if you already did that, maybe reset it. Maybe we have here a small issue in the pipeline definition before we need to do too much time or need to look too much, just to ensure the pipeline syntax is correct. But that looks good. So we have test, build. Yeah, okay. Good, then let's commit that with this commit message. Enable merge result pipeline. It's main branch, then commit. And now let's test the merge result pipeline. Therefore, we click on the repository again. Go to the web IDE. I've already opened that. Then we go to the GitLab CI YAML file. Go to the build job. And copy our nice echo job into the after script. Okay. So we have this one here. That looks good. Then we go back to the source control and commit the changes. Therefore, I use this commit message and we create a new branch. So click again here on create new branch and commit, leave it empty. So the branch is created. And then in point 5, we also create here a merge request. Test merge request pipeline. We click on create. And here you can see now that there is stated in the merge request, merge result pipeline running. So now we have this configuration that first of all, a merge result pipeline is running. So once that is done, we can merge it. So we need to first of all wait for that. So that is a really cool feature to check if the things that you are developing in your branch, if they would really break if you merge it with the current state of the target of the main branch. So that is a really good feature, and you can always rerun it to check if everything is green, and not only in your branch, also when you want to merge it at the end. Good. So I would say that was a lot of input, and the exercise 2 faster code reviews is finished. I would say we make a short break, and after the break, and I will merge also my code, of course, and after the break, Breno will take over and will guide you through advanced CI/CD and also the Duo features. I hope you had a lot of fun until now, and yeah, if it was too speedy or too slow, just put it into the comments, of course. I hope you are feeling still well, and yeah, see you back in some minutes.
Thanks, Fabian. You built a solid foundation, make everything a lot easier for me.
Thank you very much. So we can do that. You should see that, my timer. So then everybody has some minutes to grab a coffee and prepare for the second half of the workshop. See you. So the last seconds.
Almost ready to go. We have loads of enthusiastic people still very committed to go to the end. That's fantastic.
That's good.
The races, we
Yeah.
have loads of these not finished. Here we have loads of champions. That's great.
Then I will stop sharing. Breno, do you want them to share your screen?
Yep. I'll do that.
Great.
Okay. Let's get the entire desktop and we are good to go. Great. So what we are going to talk here is the wrap up of the entire session. And I really love the way Fabian introduced everything. It was a solid foundation. Now on the Tanuki racing, we're just getting a new set of tires to finish the race. That's what you're going to do next. So let's get started. So what you're going to do here is getting the interesting parts of GitLab pipeline. They are kind of well known, but lots of people don't know the power behind that. And that's one of the things we can do with the premium edition, and is to not only speed up the project, but also make it like more portable when you're trying to make things reusable and faster to build in the end. So what you're going to do here, one of them, that's the interesting part, we can use the needs in the pipeline. Needs is something you can change the execution order. So when you add that, instead of running sequentially, it is going to have, let's say in this case, an empty needs, and it's going to run the pipeline as soon as kicks off. And that means you can speed up the execution, and that's something that's going to make easier. I remember, for instance, folks that love to do Python and they use loads of C libraries. And that's one of the things makes a huge difference because we can keep everything, let's say, the security scanners and other parts running and also compiling the C codes. And that can be done in parallel instead of waiting each other. And that's a huge benefit. We are going to see this in action. Keep in mind, especially when you are using compiled languages or mixing up interpreted and compiled, or when you have big projects, for instance. I know gaming companies, that's a good example. They have huge source codes, plus images, plus sounds, and it's very complex. And they use containerization, sometimes they use cloud functions, and that makes a very big difference when they start doing this sort of simplification in the pipeline. So we're talking about stageless pipelines. That's super interesting because now we can use the needs keywords to change and tweak how we are parallelizing this job. So the idea here, we are making it faster and also making some things run in different order. And we can, for instance, run the security scanners for Dust. That's a very large one because it tries to find the pipelines and try to inject information to the application in live mode, and that can take a while. So we are going to use this in our favor to make simpler. And what happens here behind the scenes is going to be the GitLab runners. We have a number of them from the plane. I like them. Actually, the shell is just like typing everything is going to work exactly the same way to almost infinite in scaling given by Kubernetes. And we have a number of them that's going to be flexible depending on the environment, for instance. One caveat I know, for instance, when people are running the runners on Windows machines, it needs to start the Hyper-V first, and then it runs the GitLab pipeline. So sometimes it has a small lag between Hyper-V and everything else. Then It's just like everything that runs on Linux or macOS. So it's not a problem. It's just a startup time for Hyper-V. And then you have other ones, let's say Paralelos, VirtualBox for the folks that like to have virtualization on the desktop, very useful to build big things. Because then there's a small difference here. When you have GitLab in SaaS, we are consuming CI minutes. When you have our local runners, it does not matter. So I see loads of customers that run normal pipelines or normal jobs in SaaS mode, and the big stuff go local, and everything works properly. So we can mix and match them. There's no harm here when you have different executors in different places. The other very important topic here is what we do in the cloud. The same way we do in Google and Amazon, we have a non-human account that's going to be used for the instances, for the jobs. We are going to have the service accounts. And the idea here is to act as a human, but you are not exposing, for instance, the details about the passwords and everything else. You just define the service account. And this is something we can set, for instance, not expiring passwords or not expiring credentials. That's going to be extremely useful for the length of the project and sometimes just to comply with the company policies to make sure we are doing what you're saying we are doing in terms of account maintenance. Another very important thing on GitLab Premium is going to be the CI/CD catalog. When I introduce myself as a Lego builder, that's going to be a celebration of that statement. We have sometimes big CI files that are sometimes long to create and maybe require some specific knowledge. When we start using the CI catalog, we are using components that are something pre-built by GitLab, sometimes the contributions from the community, and we can use that knowledge as use the plug and play parts. That's going to make a lot easier because now we have less maintenance on the files themselves, and because it's modular, we just need to bring what we need to build everything. So here are some examples. I love OpenTofu. When HashiCorp changed the policies, loads of people deflected to that project. And also when you need, for instance, in GCP, Cloud Run, all these complex tasks to understand what we need to get into the project, how to build a pipeline. That's going to bring the essential components we need, and that's going to be a lot easier, much faster to write a pipeline because now we call maybe 50, 100 lines in the components, and everything starts a lot easier for us. So the other one is going to be remote workspaces, which is essentially a separate area where you can do everything. So the idea here is to isolate environments, and we have like a containerized space to do the work, and we are not stepping each other. And this makes a good environment to work and to be flexible. And there's one thing here I see quite often in the conversations with customers. Should I use artifacts or should I use cache? It depends. There's no right or wrong in this case. What you're looking here, if we have something you just need to speed up the process, cache is perfect. When we need something that can be reused by another part of the project or another teams, let's say I'm building a container to run my applications. This container has been scanned, has been validated. Why not set as an artifact? Now it can be reused, so that's going to be a lot easier because different parts of the project or different projects can take advantage of something that's already done. That's going to be kind of a pipe in, let's say, Linux commands. We use the artifact that was the output of one pipeline, and we are going to use this to keep building something else. So the idea here is speeding up, not reinventing the wheel, not recompiling or not rebuilding things that are already done. And in the example of caching, We don't need to do anything until we do a change. So that's interesting here. And the other one is going to be interesting when we talk about file templates or instance templates. We are making reusable components as well, and we are going to use everything that's defined at project level, let's say variables and everything we already done. And that's going to be more modular, and then we can make it easier for the maintenance perspective and also making it easier for the person who is building the first time, because now we can create a model, it can be reused, can be tweaked, it can be adapted to every situation. And then finally, when we do all the homework and everything is running properly, we want to find out how is the speed improving. And that's important when you look at the merge request analytics, similar to what Fabian showed in the previous presentation about the contribution analytics and the productivity. We are going to have a look how the merge requests are evolving. Normally, as in the perfect world, we are doing more merge requests. We are increasing the speeds. When you look, for instance, products we are building to sell to customers, that's going to be important looking the time to market and also finding, because now the teams are collaboration, let's say, we are promoting the idea shift left, the developer commits the code, and we have immediate feedback from the security scanners. The developers will have a look on the code, will tackle CVs, for instance, or tackle problem with regular expressions and so on. And instead of getting a ticket, passing to security team or somebody responsible for security, and then waiting them to do something, and then the person of the team runs everything, put back in the queue, sends back to the developers, and they take action. In this case, there's a true collaboration, and now they have feedback. They start taking action because they know their code, they're familiar, they're still fresh, and they take action and solve the problems. And now we have a much smaller security report, and we are going to do deployment at least in tests. Maybe we are good to go in staging. If you have only info and low risk vulnerabilities, we are going to move on. That means we are increasing the number of merge requests, we're increasing the speeds, and making a good use of that. And the analytics are going to show exactly that in pair with the productivity by developers. The idea here is not to say we have one team that's not doing enough. The idea is if there's somebody that's doing a lot and somebody that's doing just right, maybe we have opportunity to rebalance the distribution of this work, or maybe we need some extra hands in one project, maybe we need 10 people. So we can find the right balance to keep everything running smoothly. That's the main goal when you look analytics, is more optimizing the whole process. Okay, so the idea here, when you have the needs, you can work with the artifacts we create in the pipelines. And this is something important because it's adding some asymmetry. It makes it a lot easier to coordinate in terms of building what you have and reusing components that are already available to the project. And another topic, that's where we are going to start the practical part of this workshop, is going to be protected environments. The idea here is to give the correct access to people who can change something. In the environments, traditionally, we have at least three of them. We have the development, that's kind of blank check for everyone. They can do whatever they need to do, and the rules are more relaxed. We don't have too much strict controls. Then I have the tests, or maybe user acceptance tests, or maybe pre-prod, depending on the naming convention of the company. Then we get more controlled actions. And finally, we have the serious work that goes to production. And that's at least the one we are going to set a protect environment. Here it is very controlled, and we want to keep guardrails to avoid mistakes. problem is not people try to make anything malicious. Most of the case, that's not what happens. Sometimes we have new people, maybe people from different projects or temp workers, or people just not familiar enough with the processes. And once we get the protected environments, we are going to get the appropriate security rules to make sure people are doing exactly what they're supposed to, and it's not more than that. It aligns really well with the principle of the least privilege, and that's exactly one of the purpose we have near protect environments. Friends, we are going to switch now to the live mode, and we are going to see things in action. Fantastic. Similar to what we did in the past ones, I have the instructions and I'm going to have the live action. I'm going to take this now. So we are going to start with the environment part. Let's do this for real now. Let's see this, get my project running. And we are going to do, okay, grants. Okay, I'm going to start with the environment part. Fantastic. Let's do this. Okay, so if I open now my tab, we're going to do operate my environments. And now I'll try to set the speed not to leave anybody behind, even though we are going to do the nuke racing. The idea here is to finish everyone together. So let's work this as a team. So first of all, I'm going to create my new environment. Let's call this my production. Friends, and let's say follows dev and tests. Okay, just a comment. We don't need to do anything very, very intelligent here. So let's get something simple. As we are going to get this saved, and now we are good to go. Great. Okay. So my environment now is created. Fantastic. And now, oops, I think I skipped something here. Let's do one more thing. Okay. My prod 2 skipped one test or one step, and it was not good enough. And let's do this. Okay, now we are much better. And we're going to do this. Actually, okay, good. And now I have two of them. I should call test or whatever. That's good enough. And we are going back now. We are going to protect these environments. Maybe I should get one test as well, just in case. Let's do this. Now I go to my settings, and I'm going to protect my environment. I'm going to have two of them. That's great. And we are going to get one of them. So, oh, have no. That's interesting. Okay, now I have it. And I'll get some users here to do this. So let's be flexible. Sometimes users are on holidays, can be something. We are going to get like a role that's going to be more flexible. And also, I need to get somebody to approve this. Let's say I'm going to get this, and the approver is going to be Logan. Great. Now we can set protect, and we have a solid foundation here. So I did on purpose two environments because sometimes when you look only one, it looks too empty, and I like to give a little bit of flavor. So nice to have a grain of salt on this one. Fantastic. Now let's go to the next step where we are going to get my pipeline. Right now, it is very complete for the purpose. We are going to add a few things here. One, I'm going to get my different tasks in this one here. Let's add my stages. That's going to be my first change here. I'm going to open this pipeline editor, and that's going to be my stages here. Fantastic. Now I have something that's supposed to work, and I'm going to add my production stage to the very end of this, and that's going to be around here. And this is on, okay, indent correctly, otherwise that's not going to work. And please copy this from the exercises, and once we have here, we are good to commit these changes and start executing pipeline. So far, what we did here is only protect the environment. And once we have that, it's going to deploy, it's going to need a approval and needs to be maintained there. Let's have a look here. It's not going to, okay, failed.
If you have you added a deploy stage to the stages?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let's do this, my deploy stage. Okay, let's get to let's go back to my pipeline. Okay, build, test deploy. Oh, I have two of them messing up here. Okay, so I have the builds. And okay, build, tests, deploy. I can, let's get here. Okay, let's fix this very quick. And we're good to go. Okay. Now, okay. Now, okay. Thanks, Serafin. Okay, looks better than it was. And let's see how pipeline is evolving now. Hopefully you have something healthier than it was a minute ago. Okay, looks much better than it was. Fantastic. So now we are running. I'll wait everyone to complete this step. And if you need the full CI is also in the examples. And because I was looking two screens, I totally forgot about one stage. That's great. And now we are in a much better position. Good. Let's go back to the codes. And right now we have everything running properly. What we're going to do next, we are going to get the needs keywords. That's a magic one that's going to help to speed up the execution, add some parallelism to execution, and make it much better than it was. So I'm going to get one part here, and I'm going to add these two user shared components. And we are going to get this one. I'm going to add my pipeline editor, and what to add around here. Oops, nope, not here. And I'll build this. Okay. Variables, okay. These shared components. Okay. Let's drop this here. Interesting.
I think it just needs indenting.
Yeah. My dent is completely wrong. There you go. Ooh, not indent the letter.
Just don't miss the usual share component. I guess you deleted that
Oh, yeah.
above stage build then.
And now then this one, remove the space. And it's one more. Okay. Beauty of copy paste. Sometimes browsers don't like what we do, and we think it's actually faster, not always. Okay. Okay, looking very promising. And the artifacts. It's going to be, oops, no. Both here.
I guess in the needs section, yeah, you also need to make project, job, ref, and artifacts in a line. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it starts complaining.
It's going to be here. Yes. Okay. And jobs align with my projects. Finally. Okay. Which one's rules? Needs. Okay, let me start from scratch. Aligns with scripts. That's right. Okay, project now aligns with needs. That's the one that's wrong. Okay. Okay, one. Now the job goes next. Ref goes next. This goes next. And there's still something. There's one extra space.
Could be an issue that you between the last variable and you shared component that there's no line, space line.
Yes. Okay, grand. And this one should line now.
Yeah, with project, job, and artifacts all in one line. That's a little bit tricky. Yeah. Yeah, ref leads a little bit too. I guess that was good, Breno.
Okay, now.
One space for job, one back.
One more.
Yeah, just use a space. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and the same for the others. So
Don't remember doing something so horrible, getting the copy paste completely wrong. But anyway,
I normally just copy and paste.
yeah, I don't know how I broke so many things in one go. But anyway, fortunately, it doesn't happen on a normal day.
yes, rules also needs to be in the same line like needs. Yeah, and then the if. No, it's correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
now it's starting to look more promising. Let's go. Okay, great. So what's happening here? It is getting like the dependencies on the needs part, and it is going to download my artifact, and it's going to be reusable components. So let's see how it's looking like here in terms of pipelines, and then we're also going to have a look on the artifacts. Once the pipeline looks more promising, we are going to have the outputs. First one worked fantastic. Okay, great. It was the first one. Okay, grand. Let's do this one. No, doesn't. Okay.
Do you want to open up the job, see why it failed?
Yeah, I can use also my friends cause, oh, that's something. Hmm. And let's see. Nope, completely broken.
1 second.
Okay. That's my bad copy and paste. It broke loads of things I didn't realize. Oh, I have stage twice? No. Stage views. No. Let's see. It looks correct to me. So shared environments. It didn't save what I did. Interesting. Let me
1
start.
second, I think it needs access to the shared project.
Yeah.
I added access yesterday for everybody on this group. So let me do that now, and then you can test again and see.
All right. Thanks. Something is nothing. We'll find out. No panic. Let's start here. Can find. Forget this one. And now we do is much easier because I can ask to troubleshoot my pipeline and I have it. Okay. So
Okay, that's added now. Do you want to just rerun that job?
yeah, I'll do. Thanks. Interesting. Okay, I'll have a look on my pipeline. I think my idea of copy pasting without pasting into a plain text editor first didn't help too much. Let me redo this part. I suspect that's the problem here. So if I get my use shared components, that was the root cause of everything. No.
Saying he doesn't have access to the shared artifact project. I'll check it in the background.
Okay. In the meantime, I reindent the whole thing. Script here.
Job permissions.
Okay.
Is anybody else having this same issue? I just want to check.
Seems to be the case, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have just added it again. Do you want to check?
Okay. Now I need just to reindent everything before I break more things. believe it was. Let me see. Okay, let me start from the previous step. It's going to be safer. Let's see what happens if I rerun this pipeline or this failing job. Doesn't look very promising. So what I do is I have that in production. So far it's good. Just need to
I am running the artifact project, the shared artifact project, to see if the artifact that was saved had expired. That's why we're having that issue.
Okay.
So maybe move on to the next lab. Whilst this is run, I'll ping you to check again.
Okay, fantastic. Let's do the next step then. And let's do this needs projects. Okay. So merge request analytics. Let's have a look on that. And let's open this one. Okay. And let's see the merge request ones. Great. So now we didn't have any. Interesting. Oh, because it was separate projects. Okay, let me do one for real. I'll change this without doing a real change. Let's get the web ID. And do a change that doesn't change a thing here. Let's do only this one. Okay, and that's a valid merge request. That's going to generate the new one. And I'm going to pick up where we did in the past one with the nice stuff. AI giving a help. I'm going to assign to me. I'm going to assign this to nice friends. It's not part of exactly this presentation, but it's going to be a nice one to see what happens. I'm also I don't need them. And labels, let's say, is a size 4, 3, and 4, actually 3. And we are good. Okay. Now I have one I can approve straight away. And it's going to be our friends, GitLab Duo. That's not part of Premium, but it's good to know it's actually there when you need them. So it's going to work and do the code review for us. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to my analyze and have a look on my analytics and see how it's looking like right now, because now we have something that's actually happening. Okay, now it starts having some data. Too early. All right, needs to run the whole thing, and then we are going to have a look on that. Okay, no trouble.
Yeah. Sorry, Breno, it was because the artifact had expired. So I just ran it again. You could check now, it's all working, please. Can you check on your pipelines? You should be able to pull it up now for those of you that had the error.
Thanks. Oops, this one. And let's have a look on the pipeline. Yes, looks promising. Well, it looked promising. Let's go back. It's probably broken at this stage here. Go back here, shared components, because I don't have it right now. I do. Okay. Stage builds. And we have, okay. Okay. I don't see a reason for not working. Anyway, I'm going to have a look on this after GitLab Duo because I can run this on my local pipeline. I have GitLab Duo to troubleshoot this for me. And we can keep going without compromising the time. Otherwise, we are going to be stuck here and I'm not ready to compromise on this one. All right. As my preview gave a hint, what we have also is GitLab Duo, that's our AI. And there's a huge difference from the normal implementations of AI. There are two things. One of them, each tool defines its own way to do AI. Let's say um, an application generating code, for instance, can be used anything really. And then you have another one that's doing the security review that has another opinion on things. And another one doing, let's say, code quality, another form to do AI. And that gets really messy because now instead of getting everything in one place, we get in different points of view and we're fragmenting, we are adding chaos to a situation that's supposed to be simpler. And what GitLab does is unifying everything. And that's important because wherever you go in the pipeline or in the whole platform, it's going to show one point of view, one opinion as one code base. Important to mention, we do not use the prompts to train models, and we do not use the output to train models. What is yours, and it's nobody else's. So it's important to highlight this part. And then we have two parts on the AI. We have code suggestions. That's going to be what we know. Usually I say this is the bread and butter of AI, helping to write code, to amend code, to refactor, all these nice tasks to help the developers to be more productive. And also the chat. Chat, we can ask anything really. And I eventually going to use this to do what I was trying to do. So the idea here is going to use one code base, and that's going to help us. So there are a few things we can do here about this. Is going to be summarizing things and make things easier. So code suggestions is going to help to get things done. And I'm going to advance this because it's far more interesting than going through the theory. And I'm going to get this here straight away. There are a few things we can do. One of them, GitLab Duo Chat, I can ask, for instance, how, for instance, let's say, something like this. Doesn't need to be necessarily related to GitLab. You can ask anything really. And the good thing now, it adds a good context, and also every time it's possible, it's going to add some references as well. I'm going to ask, for instance, that's a nice question. But then I'm going to ask more contextual. So that's important here. The more hints you give to GitLab Duo, the better you get the response. Here, for instance, it was very nice. It throws the base skeleton. And also at the very end, it gave the link to the documentation. That's important aspect here when you look this part, because it's searching public repos, it's searching the models, And every time it has a good reference for any documentation, we are going to get here. So that's great. So you can ask, for instance, I don't know, let's get one total random answer. Um, something like this, probably either Kubernetes or Docker runners. Well, let's see what comes up. I never tried this question before. And there you go. Yeah. Yes, I guess Kubernetes is going to the top. Fantastic. So that's the idea of GitLab chats. We are going to interact, ask questions, and we can ask completely random things. We can ask, for instance, how do I implement single sign-on, for instance? Single sign-on in JavaScript. And I'm going to ask one silly question here on purpose. That's not going to be, let's say, trivial for most chatbots. And there you go. Now we have quite detailed explanation how to use a single sign-on. This is actually good when you are writing the specifications, even for the non-technical users, let's say a project manager that wants to give directions to the developers, can start here and use this to do the basic stuff. So far, I was using loads of known stuff, but what if I ask something completely out of this world? Let's say something like this. Um, ah, anybody's hardcore here doing crazy stuff? There you go. Let's do this completely out of these words. I love Perl because it's super compact, and then if we do not document, we are going to forget completely next day or next hour. And this is a good test. But there you go. Even if you ask something that's not very trivial in terms of programming languages, in terms of procedures, is going to help a lot. Or I can do something like this, right? Uh, it's back to my university benches in 1986. And this one I know usually by heart, especially being Pascal. It's nice because you have the local procedures, local functions. Instead of C, that's everything is global. We can make like smaller scopes. And there you go. We have quick sort written in Pascal. If anyone is in mood to test things, and there you go. It actually shows a very nice one. Or you can ask tough questions. Let's say, right, login screen in, I don't know, Haskell. If anyone ever used that. And now that's a good way to test the bot. Yes, it can use something that's never called popular, but there you go. It can survive this sort of tough questions. And that's the idea of GitLab chat, is to be the assistants that help us to do something. Or I can like say write a process to, let's say, implement API security. That's a very random question. Hopefully it's only going to be text. The idea here is, yes, fantastic. Project owners, project managers, they can have directions for the developers. And that's the idea of GitLab, is not to be only for developers. That's what most of the products in the market do, let's say. And the idea is to be democratic. We are bringing people together. We are making accessible. And that's the concept of collaboration. GitLab is not only for developers, it's for everyone. Fantastic. So the chat part is clarified. We can do interesting things, not necessarily only generating codes, and we are good to go. But let's say I want to create a new file as maybe reusing the concept I was doing earlier. And I'm going to do something nice here. Let's say something like this. Oops.
Well,
Yeah.
my run.
And let's do something like this one. Let's say my single sign-on. Let's do this in Python. Yeah, great. Okay. A code for Duo. I'm going to commit this one. And next I'm going to open in the IDE. And the idea here now is to do what most people do, is spending most of the times completely in the IDE. Okay, fantastic. Let's get this here, single sign-on, Python. So let's open this in the Web IDE. And now, one important thing here, we can use the Web IDE as Fabian did earlier today. We can use this as a plugin for Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, or IntelliJ IDEs. And this is powerful because developers live most of the time within the IDE, and we don't need to confine to any specific space. So we can do in two ways. Let's say write JavaScript to add, let's say, Keycloak. That's a very nice project. As single sign-on. Something like this. Keycloak is an alternative to the likes of commercial products, and it's an open source project. It's free, and it's maintained by the CNCF, and that's something super cool. So let's see. And one of the things I noticed, sometimes GitLab do is slightly slower than some products. What I'm doing here, there's one option in GitLab is called Repository X-ray. It's going to analyze my repo, and it's going to learn my package managers, my programming style, my indentation style, and it's going to use this knowledge to enhance what I have. And this is also very private. We are not going to share it with these customers because nobody wants to be the next Samsung that commits something and the next day is public on the web, even though the repo was private. It was a bit headache for everyone. So the idea here, oh, interesting. It timed out. Okay, let's do something easier. Right. Single sign-on. And implement Octa. Something like that. Then it's more generic. The other one was a little bit tough. I gave too much examples for JavaScript and necessarily forcing to use Keycloak. Let's see if we can get something more aesthetically pleasing to the eyes, and maybe it's going to survive this way better. That's the first time I has the timeout. Normally it doesn't happen this way. And also the other one we can do is doing something like inline. Oops. Okay, now I have it. Great. So I'm going to replace the whole thing. And now I have. That's great. Gave the entire procedure. And now I can save this. And I'm going to do two things here. That's going to be really powerful. First, I'm going to do something very generic. And this done. And this is the power of code generation. This is available in all editions of GitLab, Premium and Ultimate. And that's going to be the friendly code assistant that goes side by side. There are a few things beyond that, and more specifically to GitLab Duo, that's the enterprise one. We can do things like this. And I can ask, for instance, based on my best practices, based on everything I do, can you let me know exactly what this piece of code can be? One line, can be one block, can be one file. We mark, and it gives the idea here of this context is always in relation to what we did. So Grant, it explaining here my block and in very fine details, and it helps a lot. Why this is important? In past life, not a long time ago, I was active developer, and sometimes I was doing maintenance and getting code written by someone else. What's the best way to get a bug? Well, don't understand the code, try to change it, and now I have a beautiful P1, and I did that. So in this case, I can go now to my code and ask GitLab do explain this, and it's showing every part of this block what it's doing. So now with comprehension, I can write something that's a lot safer because then I know the purpose of these codes.
RGU. Oh,
Okay, and the other one, I can find something like this. I can ask, it is good. Can it be done in a better way? When you get older codes, and one of the things I can do here in live mode is absolutely insane. I don't do this anymore, but I can do this for language like COBOL, for instance, or something that nobody knows how to write anymore. But now, there you go. We have a small refactor for this code based on best practices, security, and it helps to do something. But let's say here in the else, I have, let's say, let's get in the error here. Introduce something totally stupid. And let's do this. And now the code is broken. Most of the times it can fix a bit, unless it is completely insane. And then it can try to make this better, and it's going to do something for me. So think about this. I started asking to generate JavaScript, and it gave me the codes, saved me some time, saved them loads of trouble. And then I asked, okay, give me some hints. What's the purpose of this one? It helped me again. Now I asked to refactor. It did a great job. And now I asked to fix a mistake. When you think in terms of a life of a developer, there are loads of hours and loads of efforts and maybe a few P1s avoided here in first place. And this is one of the values when you tie everything together, when we have big projects, people working different parts, using code from other people, different repos maybe learning from each other, and we are bringing a huge value here. But now I have a challenge. There's one thing no developer likes to do. If someone likes to do that, please let me know, because I want to congratulate that person. Please log in the chat. When somebody asks, can you create test cases for this thing? Well, now that's the time for finding a coffee break or maybe going for a walk or doing something. Everything that's not writing the test cases. So, how I can do this less unpleasant? Easy. We can ask GitLab, mark one part. Then you can ask here, generate my test cases. And this is something not only boring, deadly boring, is also sometimes hard because now you need to understand what you did in the first place, how it's going to be used, and then imagine the test case. With this one, you just mark one block of codes. I can do for the entire file again, or I can do for just one block. Could be, let's say, sets the event, for instance, the middle one, and I could say, okay, just a small piece of it. But there you go. Now, if I go here to my new file, that's case one, and now I can do something like this, and my first test case is done. So it is that simple, makes a lot easier, and all this tough job is completely gone. Now let's suppose I'm happy That was, let's say, that was the work that was asked for a project manager. Second things developers do not like to do is answering, what did you change here? And that's tedious. And now at least we have some good start case. And we have good things here. And we have a nice merge request. And I'm going to assign again to my GitLab Duo friends. It's part of the True Enterprise. And I'm going to set this and kickstart. Fantastic. What happens when you do that? GitLab Duo is going to start doing the code review, and it's already running now. And it's going to start showing what needs the next set of files here. That's another thing that's very boring to everyone. And GitLab Duo makes a lot easier, faster as well. And again, it's not replacing the humans doing this sort of work. It's giving all the clues, all the important things. And there you go. Now we have code reviews, suggestions for improvements, and we have a good chunk of code here. Just imagine the, let's say, poor junior developer writing these things here, and it's very buggy. It sends to the most senior person in the company, that's also the most expensive and most experienced, to fix all of this. Well, now we can do this with GitLab Duo, and I can even go here. Okay, can do something like this, and I can apply the suggestion and get everything done. That's great, because now we save the time of this senior developer. We also use the security scanners to give all the vulnerabilities, and I don't need to reassign this to anybody else. And I take initiative, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to clean up the security holes in my codes, and the release is much faster. So that's a combination of things. As I said in the beginning, AI is not only to generate codes, it's also to help everyone. In this case, it's made it a lot easier. And I have another point that's usually not what people talk about AI, but let's suppose now the junior developers feel super empowered to write loads of things, which is genuine use of AI, let's put this way. But now we have these developers generating 1 million of code, lines of code per day. Then you have a different problem. Who is going to review that? How can we guarantee we have compliance with the licenses that company is enforcing? Let's say a company doesn't like to get something based on the lesser GPL. Personally, I don't like this license because it's very restrictive. It's almost like a closed source license. And let's say we have one thing that brings, for some reason, something that contains LGPL. Not, GitLab doesn't do that, but I'm just supposing we are generating with another tool, and there you go, we have a LGPL. Now the security scanner, one of the functions of the software composition analysis, that's going to be the dependency, is going to find out we have this license here. Now we need to set policies. That's not part of premium, but anyway, just comments. We are going to refuse, and we need guardrails. It needs approvals or need to remove the license to execute everything. So that's super important. We don't want to generate codes just for the sake of generating. We also need to have some controls, some guardrails, and some rules around that. Because if we are not doing that, the legal department is not going to be impressed with the work we are doing. Maybe we are violating company policies, and we need to get some controls on this one. So very important, using AI is also getting responsibility, because generating code is easy. Getting things working properly in terms of security, in terms of compliance, that's a different animal. Great. Let me see how we are on time here. We are actually exceeding the time. So I think we are good to go. Pipeline is still failing. I'll leave that behind. We are going to fix this way. Oh, actually, it passed. What was failing before, now it is looking much better. All right. Finally, one part of this passed. The another one that was the artifact dependencies still unhealthy, but that's a detail we can fix later. And we still have this for 2 days. So everyone can review, find my mistake, and also amend that. But for now, we are good, and we are over time. I really appreciate everyone's patience. As one important thing before you wrap up is doing this. Okay, is transferring the project as only transfer when everything done, because we are going to lose few things related to AI and also related to things that are only available to see. So if you are using Community Edition, you need to be careful about that. So you go here, transfer the project, only when you finish all the workshop, and it's available for 2 days, and you do that. Thanks, everyone. It was a great pleasure, and it was interesting to share some ideas, some concepts. And we are here to help your journey. So anytime, contact us, talk to our friendly salespeople or technical